the Dogfish Head Brewery, Sam Calagione.
It's been a long, strange, but wonderful trip.
From the Boston Beer Company, Jim Cook. Welcome back to the Friday Beer Buzz, Jim.
Well, it's nice to be back.
They're normally from Aberdeenshire in Scotland. From Brewdog, we have James Watt and Martin Dickey. Welcome to the show, guys.
Biggest mission today is just to make other people as passionate about your state's craft beers as we are.
And now, the three-time winner of the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Excellence in Broadcasting Award. The recipient of 2 Pennsylvania Associated Press Broadcasters Association Awards for Excellence, promoting and advancing the craft and microbrew culture in Northeast PA. This is another edition of
The Friday Beer Buzz!
And the Friday Beer Buzz, powered by Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar in Exeter. Sabatini's, with the area's greatest selection of rare, craft, and imported beers. Growlers and crowlers and 37 rotating drafts. At Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter. Bill from My Beer Buzz, you were perfectly on time today.
He's always there.
Friday, I was.
Oh, you mean...
I was going to jump in like ridiculously early and just yell it in the middle of the intro, but then I changed my mind.
You could have done that. And also here, Lindo Sabatini from Sabatini's. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
I get to see you now.
Now, are we going to start up? Bill, we might have to detour for just a second. I had said something a few minutes ago. Lindo heard it and wanted to address it, but it's about gin, not beer, if you don't mind.
Yeah, because we had a story about Tanqueray gin. Now they have one that is non-alcohol based.
For the people that love the flavor.
And you were curious as to whether people really loved it, which I said, when I used to waitress, it was a big deal. But Lindo,
well,
you know, because
I've never known anyone who ever said, I love the taste of gin, but that's just me.
Gin is hot. I mean, especially in the summer. This summer, we know gin's going to be big again. Last summer, we did a ton of gin. Just like I say, there's a beer for everybody.
Yeah.
I really do believe there's a gin for everybody because there's so many different gins. What you're talking about, what you don't like, was that juniper bite in Tanqueray. And
I said it wrong, didn't I? What did I say? Tanqueray?
Tanqueray. But there's that's a London dry gin. You're gonna get a lot of juniper out of it. But when there's botanical gins now that have all different types of, we have gin that tastes like strawberries. We have gins that taste like cucumbers. There's all different kinds of gin, and it really does depend on how the drink is made, what you blend with the gin. I mean, if you want to drink gin straight out of the bottle, we have people that do that. But
so really, you were being so politically correct, and you could have said this if we knew each other longer. You could have said, "Hey, Barsky, you ignorant dolt, shut up, listen, and taste what I'm telling you to taste." Because I don't know, and I'm glad you said that. I like learning this stuff.
I don't want to get instantly aggressive and fight with Nancy for no reason. But
you noticed I started drinking heavily as soon as you gave this to me.
I appreciate that. I didn't come on and say, no one likes gin. I just said, I don't know anyone.
We probably have 25 to 30 different gins, and you can use them for different things. So, I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of gin, and let's talk about beer.
All right, now we get to Bill from My Beer Buzz, who's got beer news and beer stuff.
Hey, no, feel free to detour to other alcohol anytime you like. I'm fine with that. I don't personally love the non-alcoholic beers, but like Lindo mentioned with gins, I'm very curious to taste them. Brewdog just sent me 6 different non-alcoholic beers, and they all taste different. And if you get it out of your head that there's no alcohol in there, sometimes the taste is a little bit different. And I'm all in favor of people finding their, we talked about soulmate beer. If it's a soulmate gin, I'm all in favor of it, and I would try them. I'm always interested in trying. I had a weird / bad experience with gin, and so I don't drink a lot of gin anymore. And it was nothing bad. It was just it's stronger than I am used to. I drink beer. And if you drink gin like you drink beer, you get in a lot of trouble. So, with that said, let's jump over to the beer news. And I'm sorry to say that we are actually beginning today's beer news with a little bit of sad beer news. And it's a little bit of sad beer news, and it's a little bit of a reality check about the state of Colorado. Oscar Blues is brewing something called Home Skillet. It's a black IPA. We don't see a lot of black IPAs anymore. It was a big style not too long ago. But it's brewed to honor Jason Bueller, nicknamed Jason Ferris Bueller, a former brewmaster lead brewer at Oscar Blues, who just had a climbing accident, was killed in a climbing accident.
Ooh.
So they're brewing this. Yeah, it's you know,
It's terrible.
Colorado. Colorado's, yeah, it's adventure, you know, venture on the plate
Wow.
in Colorado. Which leads me into Bonfire Brewing, also out of Colorado. Founder, brewmaster Andy Jessen was killed in an avalanche recently in the state of Colorado. So there are a lot of benefits going on for both of these brewers. And naturally, the brewing community is helping out and supporting, you know, both places. So out of bad news comes some good news. So we're sorry to hear it, but if you're planning a trip to Colorado, be careful out there. I mean, people don't think these things happen, and these things do happen.
Wow.
Also out of Colorado, let's switch gears and get to some good news. Coming out of Great Divide Brewing, you know, we know Great Divide for their series of Yeti beers, and they've made some crazy Yetis. Now they have made one, and it's coming soon, called Macaroon Yeti. Now, as a baker, I will tell you that I have made cookies of a similar name, and people get these things confused. This beer has coconut, lactose, and almond. It's 9.5% ABV, and it's in big 19.2-ounce cans. But the giveaway there is coconut. Mm-hmm. Whenever you hear coconut, it is macaroon. Whenever you hear sort of the French version of this without the coconut, totally different cookie, it's a macaron.
A macaron. Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, much harder to say. Much harder to make. It is hard to say, too.
Right.
But very different than macaroons. You know, people hear macaroons and they think of this little coconutty thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to say macarons are better than macaroons. But anyway.
And they're hard to bake. They're very hard to bake.
If I were a video game character who could level up, I would have just leveled up to like 3% cultured. I learned a lot of it myself today. That's great. Macaron.
They are really hard to make. There's a consistency to the batter that I could go on forever about. You have to be able to pipe it, but you can't be too thick, too thin. Anyway, Founders Brewing, coming out of Michigan, is coming up with a Crafted in Michigan series of beers where they team up with other Michigan breweries and create new beers. The first one will be called Werewolves of Michigan, and it is created, it's created with City Built Brewing, and it is a West Coast IPA that uses Hydra hops. That's a new one to me. I've not heard of that one. That one's coming March 12th, and they have a new one called Gaia Nectar that is brewed with bees in the D. Now, I Googled around, and bees in the D, period. I don't know what Bees in the D is. I don't know if it's a band or a brewery, but in any case, it's going to be a German wheat ale, and that one is coming on March 5th, all part of the Crafted in Michigan series of beers. I assume we're going to see a lot more of these. They look like they are 22-ounce bottles only. And we have one last little tidbit, also coming out of Colorado. New Belgium Brewing is coming up with their Blender Project 22. We talk about blended beers all the time. This is a dry hopped, a lot of hyphens going on here, dry hopped, shoulder-aged lager with heather flowers. So try to assemble all that in your head. And it comes in at 6% ABV in 16-ounce cans. And I don't know, when I think of heather flowers, I think of shampoo or conditioner.
Deodorant.
Or hand lotion. Yeah.
Or not beer.
I don't think of beer.
No.
Yeah, or not beer. And then lager, a foeder-aged lager. A foeder is a giant wooden barrel, essentially, and it imparts wild yeast. It imparts flavors. So I'm trying to assemble that one in my head, and I keep coming up with the same thing that I would come up with a conditioner, is that how would you ever get the heather flavor and taste out of that wooden foeder? I guess we'll find out.
I feel like that's a sentence that's never been said on the earth. How do you get the heather taste out of the giant foeder?
I don't know. I mean, I've had one or two beers that have heather in it, and it's just, that beer that you just explained, as you said it, my brain shut off.
He's like, nah, not for
That's
me.
not for me.
Yeah, I know. We even sometimes for me, floral hops. There are hops that are very florally, and every so often for me, even something like Bell's Two Hearted Ale will get floral. And when I get floral, I get perfumey.
Yeah.
And when I get perfumey, I get chemically, and
Yeah, it's a turn.
Not that Two Hearted is anything about that, but so that's a troublesome one. Mm-hmm. So to take all that out of your palate, we have a beer today that comes from one of my favorite breweries. It is in Frederick, Maryland. It is the Flying Dog Brewery. And today we're diving into what they call their Brewhouse Rarities series for a beer called Strawberry Jalapeno Margarita Gose.
And now it makes sense. I took
It's
a sip.
like a baby, the name.
Okay.
Strawberry, Verity Strawberry Jalapeno Margarita Gose.
Yeah. So we mentioned last week in passing the style of Gose. And people pronounce it Goza. You can say it however you want. It's a German style that originates in a city in Germany called Goslar, Germany. And it's a very historic style. We mentioned last week that we'll do a Gose on the show to educate Jason about what a Gose is. But it's an ale, first of all, when you're on the lager or ale. So it's an ale. It is warm fermented. It is typically 50% or more wheat malt, so they use more wheat than barley in it. And it is typically sort of a German sour-style ale. And in Germany, they add syrups to them. In America, we just put the syrup right in the beer. And in this one, the fruit is strawberry. Well, in this one, they've added jalapeno. Mm-hmm. So it's very non-traditional. But a traditional one, Jason, is characterized by a sourness in the wheat ale, some fruit flavor, and then the big flavor in there is salt and coriander sometimes. So are you getting the salt in this? There's a lot going on with this one. Are you getting the salt?
I took a sip during your beer news a little bit, and I was like, ooh, another one that kind of burns as it goes down. But I'm weird. I'm like this with food, and now I'm finding with beer. Until you tell me what's in it, it's hard for me to pick up on the taste. And as soon as you said strawberry and jalapeno, Lindo saw me. I went, It makes sense now.
Yeah, because it's that sour, but I like that. You can get that jalapeno like afterwards. It's kind of like the sour with that warm, and you can taste that afterwards. The aftertaste is the jalapeno.
Bill, when you said jalapeno, his eyes lit up. Like, that's what it is. It's the jalapeno in my throat.
And then when you referenced, I stuck on jalapenos. What was the other part? You mentioned strawberry again. I went back and sipped it, and as you said, it was like an aftertaste. For me, it was more like a switch flipped. I taste the strawberry. It is sour, and then all of a sudden, boom. It happens abruptly. It's not like what's that? It's like, there's that burn. Yeah. It's really interesting that this works like
combo.
That. So with the Goses, originally when they started brewing them, there wasn't a lot of choice. The first couple of breweries that were brewing Goses, they had a higher salinity in the water naturally. So the salt was coming through.
I taste the salt now.
Now the reason why, a margarita Gose, you think, why are they doing that? They're doing that because margarita is, has the salt on the rim, and this is the same exact kind of thing.
It's making me thirsty, so I have to drink another one, and then I'm thirsty again.
This is the first.
Go ahead, Bill.
It makes sense to the beer. Yeah, it makes sense to the beer drinker that they can associate margarita style. You put the word margarita in there, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what a margarita is." And Jason, I'll tell you that after 30 plus years of tasting beers. Pre-COVID, you can sit down with friends, and Lindo knows this because we sit down at Sabatini's quite a bit, and you can know everything there is to know about beer upside down and backwards. And somebody will say, well, this tastes like canned pineapple, or this tastes like horse blanket. No matter how much you know, somebody will come up with a descriptor, and when they say it, you go, oh yeah, oh my God, it is horse blanket.
Right.
Are we saying horse blanket?
Horse blanket, like an earthy barnyard kind of flavor that you're going to get out of certain.
You would have never thought of that.
It's a description of us. Yeah,
not like we actually ate a horse blanket, but
that's what I was trying to figure out.
Like a barny, musty.
I get it now.
Earthy.
This is a very interesting beer. I really like this, but like I said, I keep needing another sip because I am a little thirsty. From the salt.
I cannot tell. This is the first
like a
beer.
cycle that never ends.
There have been a couple beers I've liked. They're all interesting to taste. This is the first one I can't tell if I love this or I don't like. I think I like it far more. I'm really on the fence on this. It's so unique. This is the most unique one you've brought in.
Goses have a love-hate relationship for a lot of people, and I don't personally drink a lot of them. I like them. I think they're refreshing, but if you try to drink 2 or 3, they can get a little bit too strong. Flying Dog, we should mention, as we're running out of time, Frederick, Maryland, started in 1983 by George Stranahan, a famous adventurer, my favorite quote from him is that he went on this adventure to K2's second highest mountain in the world, horrific climbing conditions. They were there 35 days, and the most frightening thing was that they ran out of alcohol on day 17. So that's how I always remember Flying Dog.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is good. I think I like it.
Now, you have this at Sabatini's?
We do have it at Sabatini's.
All right, so want to let people know. You just stop by. And, of course, you also have the restaurant going, so you got pizza places. I'm sure now with the Lenten season, this is busy time.
Yep, Lenten Fridays are always fun. Tonight will be a blast.
A blast. So get to Sabatini's. All right, Bill, have a great weekend. You've made something very interesting for Jason over here. He doesn't know if he loves it or hates it.
I think I like it.
How odd is
You'll
that?
figure it out by the bottom of the glass.
Yes, it's so true. All right, so we've been enjoying Flying Dog Brewhouse Rarities, Strawberry, Jalapeno Margarita Gose. And you can stop in at our sponsor, the Friday Beer Buzz, powered by Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar in Exeter. Ask them for the beer you had today. They got plenty of others, too. They have the greatest selection of rare craft and imported beers. Growlers and crowlers and 37 rotating drafts. At Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter, the Friday Beer Buzz, bringing good beers and good people together.